Well, hello. Today we're going to do something strange again. We're going to look back at an old issue of HM. We've done issue number 129 and 124. This is issue 146. Yeah. Stay tuned. This is Doug. You're watching the Heavens Metal Video Podcast. Yeah, that was me at the Grand Canyon a couple years ago. Wanted to show you, I wanted to use that. I filmed that when I was there. I thought I want to use this for a video blog one day and never got around to it. But today I have a round to it, so got it done. So anyway, this is issue 146. This issue may or may not have gotten me in trouble with the post office. I got a letter from the postmaster in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, of all places. I operated out of Austin, Texas. And they said that by rule, the magazine has to have the logo on the front cover where the mailing label is going to be. And I wanted the mailing label right here, going vertical along the spine, so you read it like that. And he said, you can't do it because your logo's not showing. And I argued, I said, man, Sports Illustrated and Time, has a person's head covering much of the logo. And he goes, yes, but those are instantly recognizable images to the audience. And I'm like thinking, good grief, man, the people getting this magazine in the mail are subscribers, and for goodness sakes, they're familiar with the HM logo, the masthead. We've been doing this for about 10 years or so, with the red block and the big blocky sans serif HM letters, the black stripe underneath. And so this, anybody who got it in the mail was a subscriber. We didn't send out unsolicited copies to people. So they would immediately recognize, oh, this is a new issue of HM. And why did I do this? Well, because I got a photo. I got about a dozen photos of Under Oath. A lot of really cool photos. You'll see some in here when I flip through it. But it was such a cool landscapey photo that just didn't fit if I tried to make it fit on one page. The photo would have, if I kept it into proportion. I never twisted or misproportioned photos in the magazine. So hopefully this won't be too long of a blog, but I want to go through this issue. And so we'll. And first thing to get to is ads. Under Oath, the Disambiguation album that had like the symbol for it, came out really cool. And another Happy Christmas, Volume 5. Rocky Loves Emily, August Burns Red, and As They Sleep also had releases. This is the Home album by August Burns Red. And here's a Bloodgood ad, remastered collective editions on coming out through KMG. That's interesting. Stickers and More was one of our favorite advertisers. They advertised in every issue for almost the entire 28 years of our publication. Started doing this gift guide. This issue came out in 2010, I want to say. Let me verify that. With I always had the date on the masthead over here, I think. Issue 146, copyright 2010. So around 2010, we'd made it through the economic downturn of 2008, and the music scene was changing. But right around this time, the marketing industry, the music industry, the magazine print industry all went downhill at the same time. So anyway, getting advertising sales, which paid for our large print bills, because we were printing like 15,000 of these, came to be difficult. So one of the creative ideas I came up with was doing a gift guide where you could highlight your product, and we had several pages of that. It was in the front of the magazine. And we also had like a Dear Santa Claus or Dear Mom and Dad letter. Here's what I want for Christmas. So it had the name of your product again, and the URL, their website, where to get a hold of it, which I thought was cool. And here's One Row Vision. It's a kind of a punk rock side project that Steve Rowe did. I love Steve Rowe, and I love the fact that he was keeping busy with the music scene, just cranking out stuff all the time. Here's a Rock for Life ad. Brian Kemper has done a lot of great work fighting for the unborn, which is great. This Zero Gravity massage chair. I reviewed this in the magazine, and just like the DVDs and stuff, I got to keep it, and love the massages in that chair. Crucified collector's box set, music video, and history, which was awesome, so awesome. The One King worship wear, a lot of merch and apparel companies would advertise with us, which is cool. And Face Down Records, these are a Strike First, their subprint label. They advertised with us in every issue. It was really awesome to work with them. They always cranked out great stuff. My little note from the editor this time, I was talking about the HM Magazine app, which just came out, and all the things that people that read HM could get involved with, like signing up for our email list. I sent out an email once a week that had trivia contests as well as the latest news, and that was always fun. I always had cool prizes to send out to people that I'd chosen. The online edition of the magazine, we were doing online editions at this point. Every subscriber had a password, and they could go to, that was a chore emailing to all those people, but everybody had a password to go and check out the online edition. Spinning at HM Now, it's interesting that We Wish You a Metal Christmas, which had Alice Cooper, Doug Pinnick, and Doro on it. I forgot about that Christmas album. I need to dig that out before next season, which just sounds great. Stickers as big as Texas. Who knew I'd be working for the state of Texas after my career with HM was over? So those are fun stickers. Here's one that's kind of cool. I used to put it like a little headline before every letter to Ed. This one's called One for Me and One for Her. Hey, thank you for adding me. I absolutely love your magazine. It helps me discover new bands and keep me supplied with fresh sound. I first discovered your magazine at my local Hastings store in Richland, Washington. That might have been with the Alice Cooper issue, number 94, with Alice on the cover. We did a special promotion with Hastings to have our magazine on the end cap. And we had to give up, of course, a cut from our sales. Like this is what grocery store vendors do. They'll get on the end cap or a special shelf display in a store, and they'll pay some money for that privilege. And maybe he discovered HM with issue 94, which was in 2002, and this is 2010. So maybe it might have been a long-time reader, but who knows when he discovered us. At my local Hastings in Richland, Washington, for the longest time, they only supplied 2 copies, and I would buy them both and give the other one to my girlfriend. Aw, what an awesome guy. I recently went to buy the new issue, and now they stock 6 copies. I was elated. Keep up the good work. Paul Marmolejo Jr. via Facebook. Hey, there's Paul on Facebook now. I wonder if that's his girlfriend, but probably shouldn't have said that. I should edit that out, because he might have another girlfriend now. It's been many years later. Anyway, we always had some cool prizes to give away. These are contests we did, and we got the Back to the Future box sets, which had 1, 2, and 3 in it, which we were able to give away. A Strong Arm colored vinyl, that's pretty awesome. And Christmas Rock Night advertised. It's a 2-day festival in Ennepetal, Germany, which I went to once in 1998 with Grandma Train, Stavesacre. I think Bride played there, and Savior Machine, and that was fun. This one had Cutlass Disciple, Fireflight, Project 86, Narnia, O Sleeper, Decipher Down, HB, Children 18.3, and Ivory Line. This is really sad news. Our leadoff news story is that Michael Bean died. He passed away, had a heart attack in Belgium. The Call is just one of those great American rock and roll bands. They had kind of a Midwestern rock sound, and they were kind of on par with U2 and The Alarm, in the sense that it was very spiritual music, and it was kind of like all of us Christians at the time would get elated when we found like Christians in the mainstream doing their rock and roll, where people would actually listen, get played on the radio, and not sequestered or hidden behind the 4 church walls. And The Call just had some great songs. Let the Day Begin, I Still Believe, of course, is awesome. So many good songs and albums from that band. Mike Reynolds, the guitarist for Today, did a guest column, which was always really cool. We had a street team report. We used to have a street team, and we tried to help people who liked the magazine support it at a grassroots level, and that was kind of fun. Here's a live report. We did a live concert review in every issue. It's from Revelation Generation Festival, and It was such a cool festival up in New Jersey, in Frenchtown, New Jersey. And the dude that put this on was really cool. And Tim Harris, he booked all the cool bands at the time. They're the ones that are August Burns Red and the Devil Wears Prada. As I Lay Dying was there one time. My Children, My Bride was there, and Anne Boleyn and Showbread in May played this one. Here's a live show shot of Steve Brown of War of Ages, and here's one of Brian Head Welch. Here's one I took of John Foreman at ACL Fest in Austin. It was really cool to see them. They played one of the, there's like 8 stages there. There's like 2 or 3 big ones that are on the perimeter, and then a couple other stages, so maybe about 8 stages. And they had a nice big crowd for their show. Future of Forestry put out some really cool instrumentally type or atmospheric albums that I dug. Messengers, I think, is still going on. Grandma Train. Here's Paul and Dalton Rohrback and Pete Stewart. Such a great trio. They could put out such a big sound, kind of a, they kind of had the Seattle sound going. That's where they were from. And Paul Rohrback changed his name to PJ Bostic after a relative of his, and he lives in Austin. And my band Less Control is actually tracking at his studio at the moment, or at this time in this season. Here's a fun thing: 8 artists worth checking out right now. A feature I started doing every issue where we take some independent bands and just kind of like the pick of the litter concept, where it's like, here's the best of the underground. Bradley Hathaway was on here. He was such a cool slam poet, spoken word guy that started getting into music later on. Really good quality kind of roots stomp folk music, which was really cool. May is on here. That's pretty cool. That in 2009, Mail had a goal to reach out to those in need. They did so, raising $67,000 with the support of the May community. They released a song independently, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of cool. I Am Alpha and Omega, another independent band that really, kind of like Precious Death in the early 90s. This was a band that was like self-funding, and they put together a business plan and were really hitting it hard to try to get their music out there. And it was good music too. I enjoyed getting to know those guys. Here's a live photo of Emery. Emery is such a great band, still doing it, and you can actually get a hold of Emery right now, and you can get a custom song made. And they usually do it in advance of like Christmas or Valentine's Day, and they're way booked up for Valentine's, of course. GHS Strings was always cool. The Devil Wears Prada bass player was in here. This is kind of an endorsement ad. This is one of the things that HM was able to kind of be a legitimate force in the music industry. And we had advertisements from GHS Strings, which was like, if you were playing in a Christian band and you got in here, it was like a really form of legitimacy, like a stamp of approval, which was cool. Here's a photo taken at the RevGen Festival of some people by the big main stage holding a copy of the magazine. It's funny, I wonder if he still hates HM or if he's crying now that it's out of print. Here's a really cool photo of August Burns Red. I loved having the centerfold posters in the magazine. Started doing that way back in the early 90s and loved it. Here's a nice August Burns Red article. And here is the cover story on Under Oath. So Under Oath has publicly proclaimed that they're no longer a Christian band, that they no longer believe in Jesus. They're a main part of the Christian metal hard music scene. This is another one of those great photos that they had for this photo shoot. And I applaud them for that. And I remember the doors that broke down for Under Oath. I remember when David Allen went to go and do a road story with Under Oath, and so he flew out there, sat down with the band. And I remember they were kind of young guys, and David was kind of I don't know if he was 30 yet or late 20s, but they looked up to David, and it was kind of cool. They were all virgins at the time, and they really listened to him intently when he talked about marriage and what it was like, being married and stuff. And it's cool. Those guys were so impressionable and so eager and so enthusiastic and so nice and kind. I assume they're still super nice and kind. Am I mad at them for telling their audience that they're no longer a Christian band, they no longer believe? No, I'm not mad at them. I appreciate all the music they've done, and they're kind of a foundation of the scene we covered for all this time. And when somebody walks away from Christ, it's a personal thing. So personally, I feel and hurt for them. Somebody's heart and mind, when they choose to go their own way, that's their freedom. That's the great thing about having free will, is we get to choose this day who we will follow every single day. And so, obviously, as a believer and lover of Jesus, I hope that God would open the eyes of their hearts to see the height and the depth and the width and the breadth of his love, and they would come back to him as a prodigal son. But am I angry at them? Do I want to scold them? No. That's not how I think we should roll as believers. I know some people, they get bummed out and sad, and sometimes that being bummed out turns into anger or judgment or, public scorning or calling out. And, being in the public is a big deal, and it just requires tact, because when you're being listened to by people, if you open your mouth and stick your foot in it, you can cause problems. That's why I like the gift of service in the body of Christ. If you want to help pick up trash in the church, that's an awesome gift that you can't really screw things up too bad. You might spill some Clorox on the floor or stain the carpet, which is a drag. But if you're a prophet or a teacher and you get up there and you spout off some junk, that can take a long time to clean up that mess. So, there's greater responsibility when you have a platform, and and so anybody that's hurt or bummed out, I encourage you to use that hurt, use that pain, use that compassion to go to intercessory prayer and cry if you have to when you're praying for them. I think that's powerful. Anyway, moving on. What Guster says. I remember Lori Heilsman, who's a publicist that's still working in the entertainment industry. She recommended doing an interview with them, and so I did. Here's Bliss. They were an independent band that had Robert Sweet play with them for a while, and melodic hard rock. It looks like they were venturing out for fans of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, or Maylene and TSOD, Motley Crue, Disciple, and Papa Roach. So they were branching out a little bit, changing their style. The Guster says, one thing we always did in these interviews was ask them, what do you think about Jesus? And it's not like, what do you think about religion? Who cares about all the baggage and the past you have? Let's talk about Jesus. And so it's kind of a fun interview. Every year we had to do this for the post office because we mailed out our magazine at a periodical rate, and had to do a statement of publication to talk about the issues that we sent out, how many of them were free, because our advertisers got free issues, and where they were bundled and how many went out, blah, blah, blah. Here's an ad for our app. We had the Readers Poll every year. The Long Live album by The Chariot was really cool. What did I give that? I gave that a 4 out of 5. The writer gave it a 4.5. Levi McAllister, Levi the poet, writing for HM. August Burns Red, the Home album. We had a rating system of 1 to 5. 1 meant that it was a miss. 2 is it was suspect. 3 was it was solid. So if you got a 3, that means it was solid. That means it was good. 4 meant it was fabulous, and 5 means it's a classic. And the classic, it was always hard for me to give out 5s, because classic means you're going to be listening to this in 10, 15, 5 years from now. And how do you know when you're listening to it, hopefully about a dozen times when you're writing a review, that it's going to have staying power like that? So I always reserve that for stuff that really was obviously going to stand the test of time. Was I always right? Of course not. Just a human. But it was kind of fun to have a rating system. The writer and the editor would chime in. Here's a review of Circle Slide. This is cool. A band that named their band name after a choir album, the Circle Slide album. How many times has that happened in Christian hard music? This is an unusual, kind of fun. Moving along, we're kind of Glass Hammer. Peter Case, he played with the Plimsolls. Press play. is in here. Vision, Mountain in the Sky, and the self-titled. This is really cool. One of the advertisers that I'll point to in a minute released that. And the Rex Carroll Band, I think the same Retroactive Records did that. And Kemper Crabb's column, The Christian in Art, long-standing column, about 25 of the 28 years of HM's history, I think. A guest editorial by Josh Scoggin of The Chariot. Devotions with Greg Tucker. And guest editorial by Chad Johnson. He used to work for Tooth and Nail. He kind of brought Under Oath to the label with his record label that Tooth and Nail bought. Bellyacres was another advertiser that did a lot of, that did merch, specifically apparel, and they're great. Young Side was really fun, a fun label. Arlene Marai, who kind of promoted and managed Disciple during the early days, and helped put them on the map, and always advertised in HM, which is really cool. Here's the Pick of the Litter, Insomniac Folklore. They were great. Mouth of the South. Here's one of the Worshipful Volume shirts, which became our most popular t-shirt design. We had one that came out first that had Josh of Society's Finest. He was holding a microphone. And the second one was Adam of Mortal Treason. He was playing bass, and he was on his knees face down on the stage, which is a photo I took at the at the Sunshine Festival, which is our most popular selling t-shirt ever. Did lots of reprints of those. And then the third one we did, got permission from Sonny and the photographer to release his photo and put that on the shirt. And that was the third installment we did of that. Lifestyle, we just would review gadgets and stuff like and here's one, The Day Metallica Came to Church. This guy named John Van Sloten, which you should check out this out. He basically says God speaks to us through many outlets, but it's up to us to listen. And so he started putting in Metallica lyrics in some of his sermons at church, and he wrote a book about it. Here's an MP3 player that fit on your armband. You can strap it on and go jogging. And Griffin made some cool iPhone cases back in the day. Here's our HM podcast, which was always free and fun. All That Remains on Razor and Tie Records on tour, and A Day to Remember on Victory Records. Sometimes it was hard to, keep the standard going of we only have Christian bands advertised. And so sometimes we would be told something from the label, other times not. We would just assume it because they toured with Christian bands. Here is an advertisement from Retroactive Records. Look, they were cranking out Guardian, the old Messiah album, The Vision, Deliverance, Weapons of Our Warfare, The White Cross, the 1987 Collector's Edition. This guy is like a record company mogul who's re-released some classic albums, and he just did it recently with this most awesome, the box set, the box that Bud bought. All 4.5 of the Metal Blade releases from Galactic Cowboys are on here. Killer album, worth having. A Hill to Die Upon, great stuff. That's the ad for us. Another ad, Day of Vengeance, Chosen. And there it is. That is a look back at issue number 146. It's time to eat an orange, get some vitamin C in you. Join the discussion.